The first season of XO Kitty has just been released, and it's safe to say that the ending of it most definitely set up a second season of the show. Following Kitty on her time in South Korea as she went to walk in her mother's footsteps so she'd be able to understand her life more, but also wanting to spend time with her boyfriend Dae, this show provided an ending that I don't think many of us expected. With heartbreak, love, blossoming friendships, and expulsion, I thought I'd take a look at all that was out there, including the release date, and give my theories and predictions on what I think is going to happen in Season 2. So let's get into it. Here is XO Kitty Season 2, Everything We Know. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The release date. In terms of the status of renewal for XO Kitty, Netflix didn't commission more than one season when they decided to create the show, nor have they announced that a second season of the show is going to be on the cards, so it's quite up in the air at the moment. Netflix usually takes between a couple of weeks and a couple of months to determine whether or not they're going to be greenlighting a new season of a show, or if they're going to be cancelling it. They tend to look at the worldwide viewership figures, if it's managed to transcend Netflix in the sense that it's had a cultural impact, how long the show was watched for, and also the completion rate of a show. Meaning, if a user started the show, how far into it did they get before they dropped off, or if they finished it completely. So there were a lot of different factors that come into play. If it does get the green light, with the traditional timing for a gap in between seasons being between a year and a half, with this show not having the most complex of a story, difficult visual effects or anything like that, I feel the most difficult thing to align with in terms of timing for this show will be the schedules of the cast and the writing of the story. But like I said, it's not the most complex of stories out there. The main plot to the show is the web of romances that they've got and the impact on the friendships and the relationships that are in it. So by taking all of that into consideration, I would say that we could most probably expect the second season of the show to be getting released in around just over a year's time. I would predict a summer 2024 release, but I can't see it being any longer than that. So if it does get the green light, I don't feel as though we've got that long to wait at all. The story. In terms of the story, there are so many different directions that I feel it could potentially go in. Each individual character will most likely have their own story like we saw in the first season, and they'll be developed further. I'm going to break this section down by the main characters and the stories that they'll most likely have. Let's start with Kitty. Kitty is definitely going to have the most complex story out of all of the cast. She is single-handedly connected to every single character in some kind of complicated love web, other than Q. She broke Dae's heart because she cared for Yuri, but Yuri was with Juliana, and then Minho went on to admit that he loved Kitty. So there's a lot of love interests involved and also a lot of baggage. I think we'll see Kitty return from the States after maybe spending a bit of time with Minho, due to the fact that he was visiting his mother out there, and I would guess that whilst he was there they would have definitely grown closer. I don't think we'll see that happening, but I think we'll pick up at the end of the holiday. This is something that I believe will cause Kitty's mind to be clouded with confusion even more, and not quite know who she cares about and who she wants to be with in a romantic sense. This will most probably be carried back to South Korea when she does return. I also feel she'll most likely be fixating on the fact that Yuri got her expulsion overturned, and that could be something that makes her grow stronger feelings towards her. I believe Dae is most likely going to be hurt, and I think he could start to act bitter towards Kitty due to the fact that she'll be caught in a love triangle with one of his best friends and a person that he pretended to be in a relationship with. That's what I believe the main story will be centered around. Who Kitty wants to be with more, Yuri or Minho, and then we'll see how it gets decided by the end of the season. I also think we'll see more developments about her wanting to follow in her mother's path and the fact that she had a first love before she was with her father, as was revealed in the closing moments of the season, so I think we'll see her look to find out who that was. Yuri. I think Yuri will have an interesting story in the next episode. We obviously found out that she had a half-brother in Alex, so I think we'll see her navigating the space of having a brother, and also growing a closer connection with her mother following her coming out to her and them accepting her for who she was. With Juliana being back in South Korea, I think we'll see quite a bit of screen time of the both of them together, but I think the presence of Kitty and the feelings that Kitty has towards Yuri is going to be something that starts to impact their relationship. The relationship that does seem as though it contains true love. We had hints of Juliana being jealous of Kitty, so I would imagine that that will be a main focus. Minho and Dae. I think Minho's involvement is going to be focused around being in love with Kitty and him wanting to be with her. With Dae not knowing that Minho actually has feelings for Kitty, I feel there's going to be a strong divide in the friendship. We saw how Dae reacted at the beginning of the final episode where he thought that Kitty had feelings for Minho, so I imagine we're going to see that and more. Minho changed quite a lot in Season 1, in a positive way, and I believe we'll continue to see some positive growth from the character. In terms of Dae's story, I think we'll see him battling with the feelings that he has for Kitty still, and we'll maybe see him be with somebody else due to wanting to move on from her, which I think will be the best for the character. With Dae not being at the top of the class in terms of his finals grades, I think the weight of potentially losing his place at the school is also going to be something that happens, and he will be removed. I think Season 2 will start like that, until Q reveals that Florian cheated, something which will then cause Q to be unhappy moving forward, as he will have lost his boyfriend that he had a deep connection with. There's a lot that's most probably going to happen, especially around Principal Lim and her connection that she had with Mr. Lee, and the unhappiness that she felt in her current relationship with her husband. But as long as the story has the same tone as what the first season had, then it should continue to have the same quality. The first season served its purpose well, despite being quite basic, so hopefully it does the same. The cast. The cast is often something that makes a show, and it's definitely the same with this one. With us having familiar faces, but also a lot of new characters too, the connection that we made to all of the main characters was crucial for this show to be a success. With there being no major departures in the show and it looking like Kitty is going to be returning to South Korea, I think it's safe to assume that most of the main characters will be returning. So that would mean that we'll be seeing Kitty, Dae, Yuri, Minho, Q, Florian, Maddison, Principal Lim, Mr. Daniel Lee, Alex, Juliana, I would say a small appearance from Kitty's father as well, and a further involvement from Yuri's father too. So all of the important characters will be returning to the show and be developing their own individual stories and arcs, which is good to know. Unfortunately for now, that's all that's known about the second season of EXO Kitty. I'm sure more information will be released as time goes on and we draw closer to the show being released. So, there you have it. EXO Kitty Season 2, Everything We Know. If you want to see more videos such as endings explained, theories and predictions and character breakdowns, then click on the I button, or alternatively you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @brainpilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What do you think is going to happen next? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.